welcome to another week of the East County Prep Football Report with Raymond Brown of SDFootball.net. I'm Ramon Scott of EastCountySports.com, and well, we've finally arrived. It's not the last week, Raymond. It's the biggest week this week in the Grossmont Conference in the East County with our games this week. I don't know if I've ever seen it like this in a way with our new leagues kind of the way it is. This is a showdown week. Showdown week to me is what it feels like because the way the teams are positioned, we know this is the big week of the biggest game of all time in East County, but every other team is kind of playing their closest rival. This right next to them in the standings. Like we can really see teams solidify themselves as the next best team in each league this week, and should be some great games. We're of course going to talk about the big game this week, Raymond. We could just sit here all day, but we want to talk about all the teams. Thank you for stopping in. How you doing?
Yes, I'm great. Honored and privileged to be here once again. Last week we had the Grossmont Valley decider, and this week we got the Grossmont Hills decider. So we're going to talk about that big game. I'm calling it the East County Super Bowl. I don't know if that's doing way too much, but that's how excited I am about the game, and I can't wait to get to it.
Right. I'm ready to just talk to you right now and just talk about but you know what? Once we get there, there'll be every little detail that we can kind of cover it as the show goes along because it, all relates to it here at the kind of the start of the show. But we'll get right into the games from last week that you went to. It was the other, you called it, I heard, the de facto league championship game between Mount Miguel and El Capitan. So we could take a look at the highlights of this one. You were there. And look, Raymond, all credit to El Capitan. I think they, did the job for what we were expecting, right? I mean, we called it, like we said, maybe it's going to be Mount Miguel winning the game. But look what El Capitan did. How can Mount Miguel not be ready for that? Honestly, Mount Miguel coaching staff, you're the best in the, come on.
That was a great possession still in play right there by El Cap. That's what you do to explosive offense. You got to steal their possession. And, great play right here by the Mount Miguel defense. But unfortunately, Brand Barker sees a man one-on-one and got him. Jonathan Biffle, man, what a target, big target. We don't talk about him much because we're always talking about Chancellor Chapa, but Jonathan Biffle's the truth. And speaking of the truth, Braylon Cardwell, great athlete on both sides of the ball. Touchdown catch right there. And another great defensive play. Eric White, one of my favorite linebackers on the up and coming. We don't talk about him much, but he's an up and coming player. And this play right here, I think this was the turning point of the whole game. Great fumble recovery there by Johnny Castro, taking it all the way to the house. That was a game changer. This is what big plays like that really changed the momentum. And it was all basically Mount Miguel from here on out. But a great effort by El Capitan, as you saw right there, making big plays. But, Mount Miguel just too much, man. They're explosive on both sides of the ball. They're just a team full of dogs, man. And Matt Barton about to get a touchdown pass to his number one receiver, Jeremiah Castillo. Two players I think should be on the podium for up for Player of the Year considerations. Matt Barton again, great mobility, great arm. Paris Vernon had a great game.
Well, here comes right to you, Raymond.
Yes, right at me. Matt Barton to Castillo. One of the best combinations in the county.
A little acknowledgement there for you.
And Brent Barker, he scored all three touchdowns for El Cap. Great effort by him. I know he wished he had a better game, but I think he played great for the circumstances. And Jeremiah Castillo, third catch of the game.
God, he's already a senior. Boy, look, they're my favorite right now, I guess, out of this group. And here comes one more time with Now, Miguel's got to be concerned a little bit, given up. Great job by Biffle, no doubt. Look at his size. But
yeah, he is a big target, man. I would go to him every time. 1-on-1, I'm going to him every time. Speaking of
Vernon again.
going
He's
to
a
him every time.
sophomore. You mentioned his scholarship offer. There'll be more.
Oh, yes.
Let's get the
We
post
put
game.
in a lot of work in practice, and we have a great coaching staff that pushes us really hard in practice, and it shows and it paid off today. It was really Coach V drawing up the right plays, seeing their weaknesses, and just taking advantage of it. And I can't miss those. I gotta take the touchdowns all day. So I'm blessed. I'm really blessed.
What's the difference between now and other years?
Previous years, obviously, main thing is the amount of kids we got. We got so much more kids that want to play at Mount Miguel, and the second thing is coaching staff. There's so much more intensity and attention to detail on the little things that matter. So that's the main difference. Well, it's really just being able to play multiple positions and also just being able to run multiple routes at different levels. You got to be able to be a usable weapon, in my opinion.
It feels great. I don't think we had a league title in a minute. It's great.
10
It's a great
years.
feeling. I think the coaching staff is a really big difference. Like we're harder. The practice is the hardest thing. Keep up the hard work. Keep practices going hard. That makes the game a lot easier.
All right, man. You guys are in the driver's seat for the league title. How's it feel?
It feels good, man. Last year they were the the league champs. So our 3 goals this year was 1, win league, 2, win CIF, and 3, win state. So we know this was a big game, so we just gotta try to knock these last 2 off to knock out our first goal. So, man, that's the number one thing I tell them is just take what they give you, and you're gonna look at the end of the game. He threw 5-6 touchdowns. I think he threw like 6 touchdowns tonight. So that was a great game by him just managing the game. But we still got a lot of work to do. But we're getting there. The crazy thing is we're missing like 6-7 starters still. We had a couple guys banged up. So we're just going to try to get healthy and try to get a good run for the playoffs. So it's been good just trying to get, Mount Miguel back to, where it belongs.
All right. Are they calling him on the cell? I don't know what the dance was, Raymond, but Barton, 6 touchdowns. And
Coach, you have to get busy, man, as long as they don't cause a penalty. I think he lets them have fun. He do their little dance, but just don't do it in front of the refs.
Raymond, look, I can't get enough of Mount Miguel. I don't know if everybody's like me, but it's exciting. There's no doubt this is a new feeling, right? And there's a difference in the way things are done when you have a system like this, a program like this with Coach Batoffi, and the way he treats his staff, the way people want to coach with him and for him, the way the players want to come. And you were there, Raymond. Had you seen a bigger crowd at Mount Miguel? People come. Remember, you come to a high school football game, during even when the Troy Star years here with decent teams, record-setting team offenses, and this is a night out, man. You can have fun with Mount Miguel if you're just a football fan because of the show that they're putting on the field.
Absolutely, man. It's a fun atmosphere, fun team. They're just enjoying the game of football, man. Like a lot of coaches, they take it serious. I don't blame them, but Coach Batoffi just lets them have fun, man. As long as they do what they're told, they get the job done. Just know when it's time to play around, when it's time to be serious. So, yeah, man, another great win by Mount Miguel, putting himself in the driver's seat. Matt Barton, this is actually his second straight 6-touchdown pass performance. He had one against Valhalla a couple weeks ago. So, he is just having an amazing senior year. So is Castillo's. Great win and great effort by El Capitan. I was really impressed by how they kept fighting. They didn't give up, even when they were down by a lot. They just kept making plays, and they were in it to the end. Well, they weren't in it to the end, but they kept fighting to the end. So hats off to them. Okay,
well, I know. Look, I mean, these are my favorite players right here out of the group they're playing. Even my Helix, whatever. Shout out Barton, Castillo, everything that's going on. Those guys are my favorites this season, I think, Raymond. And don't forget, I think we've actually not even talked about it yet, and I'll tie it into the next game. But, Division 4 could be an All-East County championship. It honestly could without any question. They're really kind of head and shoulders. There's other teams that could compete. Then we're going to the playoffs and everything can happen. we'll talk about it in just a minute. But look at the stats there. Just want to mention, of course, Castillo. You mentioned Vernon, the big day. He's only a sophomore, so can you imagine what's going to happen here with Vernon in the years to come? And Cardwell there. Also, we didn't even mention maybe he has been overlooked this season. I know that the team knows he's a key player, Gavin McGowan, with his 108 yards. And I say, is it McGowan? Yeah, McGowan, 108 yards.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Biffle, though, has to be more of a concern. Excited for El Cap and Biffle. Mount Miguel, that's certainly something to be concerned with because, no doubt the focus was going to be on La Chapa. And Biffle was able to get, with his size, in the clear with that strong arm that Barker had, those touchdowns. So it's not about this game. El Capitan, like we said, Raymond, we were hoping El Capitan did a good job. They did a good job. They're probably disappointed. Maybe Mount Miguel covered that quote-unquote spread, but they're in a special season they're just two different things. And you talked about it with teasing it last week. Maybe they should have been promoted and whatnot. But Mount Miguel in the driver's seat now. Basically another championship game, though, coming up this week. So anything else on these? Aiden Benegas, Evan Padilla, 4 receptions each for El Capitan. Anything we can add to the Mount Miguel party?
Also want to shout out Hector Armenta. He's a great two-way player. He hasn't gotten much recognition this year, but he's been amazing for years. Another senior leader on that team.
Number 7, Armenta, total leader out there. All right. And more big games coming up. All right, let's keep it rolling, Raymond. And so I'll tie it in this way. No disrespect, but I want to get a little bit of material out of this game anyway, Raymond. So to me, Santana is still in position to be a top contender in Division 4, and they could meet Mount Miguel in the championship. Wouldn't that be exciting? Helix, though, wins 58-0 in this one, Raymond. And take a look at the numbers here in this one, and tell me what you think here. And like I said, I'm trying to pump up. I did notice also, and I don't know because Helix did the number. I'm not worried about 58-0. They totally stymied the Sultans, showing that we have a mistake here with whatever this league is. It didn't work out. I said this would be painful to even talk about the game, Raymond, and with all due respect. Like I said, the Sultans, hey, we're going to be talking about the Sultans, 3 and 4 weeks down the line still, it looks like. But in this game, totally overmatched. But I did notice of concern to me, no Lyndon Benson in the box score for Santana. I didn't look back to see if he had missed other time. This is where I'm just a little bit out of touch. So hopefully everything's okay there. But he's a star player, and I did not see him in the box score, and I saw other running backs.
I saw his name on defense, but I don't know if that was correct or not.
I think his brother plays. Okay, go ahead. No, I might not know. Thank you. Go ahead.
I could be wrong, but I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, he's one of the best rushers on that team. So I'm surprised we didn't see much of him in the run game. But yeah, dominating performance by Helix. With all due respect, it's probably just a sparring match before the big game this week. Yeah, they should reconsider. I think they should reconsider the league settings because even before the season started, I predicted that West Hills and Santana was gonna their matchup against each other was gonna be the only win they got in league. Well, I was wrong about West Hills, but I don't know if I might be wrong about Santana. But I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that game for the Mayor's Cup.
I'll actually touch on that in a little bit here, Raymond, about the way things are shaken down because the matchups are just pretty intriguing this week. So, in this one, you have Jesse there, Raymond, but I know you talk with me about Lee Norman Lester, the sophomore. Looks pretty every time he's been in there. Now, granted, it's in mop-up duty. He looks like playing some. He's played in some moments, though. He's had, I don't know if it's been high leverage. I know he's entered the game sometimes when the game, I'm not saying it's been, in doubt, but he's entered the game in closer contests where they try to enter in the game earlier each time. He had 2 touchdown passes as well. So for Santana, Isaiah Lloyd had a sack. Also want to mention sophomore Jake Williams, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown for Helix. And your favorite guy, Jeremiah Savianea, he had 8 tackles. Jason Cisneros forced a fumble recovered by Carter Ross. Okay. Take a look now. Next up. And it was another. Now, this did surprise me in the final result. So I was hoping that this was the spot that maybe we get some competition from Steel Canyon. Maybe they're just not quite up to those two. We know they weren't, but I just was hoping at home, maybe a little more competitive here in this one. But right now, as you said it, I mean, the Eagles, the Highlanders, look out, top 2 teams even. We'll gladly take the underdog role in these 4 games coming up here moving forward. But what do you have here?
Another big win for Granite Hills. Another sparring match. Again, no disrespect, but this was a warm up game before the big one, and Granite Hills doing what they've been doing. Um, yeah, Benitez continuing to have a great game, 4 touchdowns. Um, Brandon Lewis is having a great breakout season. I mean, they got so many great receivers on that team. So to see Lewis doing what he's doing has been amazing. 3 touchdowns for him. Isaiah Pablo Jackson, another great game for him. They got an abundance in the running game. Yeah, man, this is what we expected. A solid, convincing win for Granite Hills as they get set for the big one. And hats off to Steel Canyon. Great, decent rushing by Sublime. Weaver had a touchdown run, and Nathan with 10 tackles.
Oh, Dante Nathan there on defense. Josh Zander had 6 receptions for 54 yards. Brendan Lewis, Raymond. Look, can he try football at least? He looks like a great football player, but his calling apparently, like I said, is baseball. I believe at ASU. But could Lewis's game transcend? Look, maybe if you're a baseball player of his caliber. I don't
Why
know.
can't he do both like Bo Jackson?
Okay. Well, how big is he? You've been out there. I mean, I saw him last year, but or I've seen him in baseball in the
He
field.
doesn't have standout height, but
Yeah.
he gets it done. He makes plays. I mean, I think Arizona State could use another playmaker.
Okay. All right. Well, hey.
Hey, it don't hurt to walk on if
I
he
know, but
ain't giving out a scholarship.
baseball doesn't hurt your brain cells. Unless you
Unless you get hit by a pitch.
Well, it's gonna, once or twice in your career, you're gonna get beat. That's just all the way it is. Gonna get a couple days taken off, guys. Sorry. All right. I mean to say that about our football, especially some poignant comments. Talk about Coach Patofi. There was a little discussion this week on the whole X machine about player safety and rest and all that. I don't know if you had anything on that, but we can continue on here. That was a blowout. Did want Steele to do a little better. All right, here. This is our game, right? This is our game to talk about. Really, yeah, Mount Miguel's champion, or a great win over El Capitan. I think he even had El Cap's record in there. I didn't put the loss in. Sorry about that. But Raymond, West Hills went on the road. So, yeah, they proved you wrong. They proved everybody wrong to a certain extent. And they have proven themselves right here to be at least the number 3 or number 4 team in the Grossmont Hills League. We'll find out this week. But impressive. I gotcha. I got you in this one, Raymond. Maybe I was resigned to take West Hills because we thought it was a close matchup. But in the end, that West Hills defense did travel.
Yeah, you got me, and so did the computer, apparently. Cal Preps got it right, too. Yeah, great win for West Hills. They outscored Grossmont 20-0 in the second half. So Grossmont was doing pretty good on their senior night, and then West Hills just decided it was their night. Yeah, Colin Deal, man, great game from him. A reception touchdown and a passing touchdown, man, on a trick play. And Chambers with 2 interceptions and a touchdown reception. So their playmakers showed up today, man. They went. I didn't think they were going to get a win until possibly the Mayor's Cup, and they proved me wrong, man. But yeah, I don't know. I can't really defend Grossman. I've been on their bandwagon all year, and they've been they've been losing some games that I haven't expected them to lose, and this is another one. So
Okay,
yeah,
well,
man,
maybe
I don't know.
I'm not saying, maybe I've just got a few years on you, but maybe you were caught up in a little bit. Look, there's nothing wrong with Grossman. They've totally, uh, turned things around this season, and they have a rookie coach. And here you're going up against, a program, a pretty deep program. The way things West Hills, I mean, they're every year they have one of the best, freshman JV pro, right? That's all clicking at West Hills, and so maybe Grossmont's, they're on. Would say Grossmont certainly has to be considered on the comeback trail. So you have Hamilton
Yeah, I
listed.
agree. Coming from a winless season, any 4 wins is amazing, especially for a first-year head coach. So I'm proud of what Grossmont's been able to accomplish, despite the disappointing losses. I'm proud this year, and I think they got a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, no doubt, Raymond, for West Hills. And interesting to note here, Hamilton looks like he gets most of the reps. Dill, 4 receptions, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So looks like we're going to need Dill in as I did not know that was the case. So no, that's Oberg, brother. I think, sir. So I don't on that one. I think that was Kyler Oberg. With that, I have Dill in the rushing column. But anyways, Caden Chambers here, 2 interceptions and a receiving touchdown as well. Herbert Bigley, big year. Um, all these counties calling for Bigley. We're going to see what happens there. But man, what a year he's had. All right. So West Hills, big win. Proud win for the Wolfpack. Go on the road. It was a toss up. Okay, here we go. Now we got another really good one to talk about. Maybe I got you again on this one, Raymond, but again, let me set it up appropriately because we don't want to bury the lead necessarily. And I know we got the previews to come, but with this win, El Cajon Valley has put themselves into contention to play this week for the league championship. It's going to be an extremely tough task. They're huge underdogs in the game. That doesn't matter. The fact that El Cajon Valley is playing for a shot at a share of the league championship is the big news. It's happened before, but still, they get this big win over Valhalla, where you were kind of questioning what had happened the week before with that upset loss. I have, I don't know if you can answer the question. Maybe I should. But here's Christian Renteria, a senior, in the lineup. I'm not sure what was going on here at the quarterback spot. Obviously, a breakout performance, but it is a senior. Now, it could have been a situation where Renteria was getting the reps. I don't know if there is an injury situation actually to El Cajon's talented quarterback, but nonetheless, as good as he is, he had not. I don't believe he'd put up any kind of numbers close to what Renteria did here against Valhalla, who certainly is, a below average team, as you see here at 2-7 and 0-3 in league. But you know, this was not by any stretch a game where the Braves were a huge favorite. So I maybe have questions. I could probably get them answered, but nonetheless, Renteria, shout out Christian Renteria coming in 4 touchdown performance in this one.
Yeah, excellent breakout performance from him. Excellent overall game from El Cajon Valley. Big win. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to see more from Valhalla, but El Cajon Valley's on a mission this year. They've just been playing great. Paris Dixon's playing to his potential. 5 catches for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. Um, yeah, they're rolling right now, and next week they got a chance to do the unthinkable. I don't. I know better than to pick against them, but I will pick against them this time. But yeah, I'm really proud of the season El Cajon Valley is happening despite how they do.
So Renteria had played most of the season on defense. He needed to start here, obviously, so that's of concern. But maybe I'm almost embarrassed to be on here and try to speculate this. DeBose, as great as he's been, right? But we know that he's just a talented. He performs what he needs to do with the Braves. Renteria stats are these were superior to what DuBose had done. Maybe they have their quarterback here late in the season. I mean, DuBose can, I guess run the ball and do other things as well. So, I just don't know. And just want to also mention a few others though. Here you have obviously Dixon there, 3 touchdowns. Shane Hobson had a 5-yard touchdown reception. Dixon, one of his catches went for 42 yards. Chris Cossio had an 89-yard interception return that was actually tipped by Dixon. And then Paris, trying to show up his buddy, raced him down the field, looking to block somebody and turn, beat him down the field. But hey, Paris, you didn't have to carry that football all those yards. Paris knows he's done a few pick sixes in his day, and he got to celebrate with his teammate Chris Cossio, who received the tip pass. Also, for Valhalla, he listed Estes there, the touchdown pass to Cruz. Want to also mention for the Braves, Fabian Carmona with 2 sacks. Omar James there, you mentioned, big game for him. And the doctor was in also there, apparently.
Yeah, Omar James just sent me a he just sent me a DM with his stats and a crying emoji. So I don't think he's happy about not being on the Player of the Week list, which he probably
Oh,
deserved to be at least an honorable mention. But
okay.
great performance by him, and apology by me. but
Well, Omar's going to watch this, and I'm going to, if that's, I know he's just teasing you a little bit, and we got him on here, and I'm going to spend the next 15 seconds talking about Omar James, exactly what I know about him, and having seen him play last year and on some of the games, and I know from speaking to Coach in last year, didn't this year, obviously, but he recognizes James as one of his team leaders and one of the most mature players on the team, totally. And this is par for the course, actually, for Omar and his contributions. Maybe statistically, this is a standout game for him, but he's been doing this for a couple years, certainly here, I think, if not longer, for this team. Veteran of the Braves and a leader of the team, Omar James. Shout out to him and shout out to the Braves. We're going to talk about the Braves here again in just a minute. All right, Raymond. Hey, this is what happens in these 8-man games when you get 2 good teams together. The scores are always high here. With Foothills, it's always very high. And I will mention, so I said, last week I didn't see in the previous game Ben Hernandez in the box score, but he was back this week. So that to me in itself is big news. And the fact that they scored 57 points may indicate that his absence when they played that team from the southern section may have been a difference maker in that game, because I don't believe he played in that loss.
Yeah, great win for Foothills Christian. Cameron Brown had a monster performance. He totaled 217 yards, 116 rushing, 101 receiving, 5 touchdowns in total. So outstanding performance from him. Um, and yeah, the player you just talked about, Hernandez, great.
Yeah.
He had like I think he went over 100 as a quarterback and had a couple of touchdowns. So I wrote his stats down somewhere. I just can't find it, but yes, great team performance from Foothills Christian.
Okay. I might have it here as well, but I just want to mention he did return to the lineup and had a pretty good game. It wasn't really a dominating performance as far as I believe there were a lot of contributions from the team in the game, and I'm not necessarily sure for Hernan. I mean, it was kind of par for the course on him as far as some of the games we've seen from him. So, great performance here by Foothills Christian in their victory here over St. Joseph Academy, a big game, and puts them in the driver's seat. This was kind of like a championship type game. It's a 5-team league, and they'll be favored this week. We'll talk about it, but Foothills Christian gets over a big hurdle here to get to possibly the league championship in this one. Okay.
Ben Hernandez. Let me go over his
go
stats.
ahead. Thank you. No problem.
19 carries, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns as a rusher. He was also 8 for 10, 169 passing yards. So excellent performance by Ben Hernandez.
Okay, great. Yeah, you can see right now what a difference maker he is. All right, I just mentioned this score real quick in the league game here was Orange Glen. They look to be on the way to a league title here with their victory over Mountain Empire. These were the games that Mountain Empire were targeting when they were trying, going to enter the Pacific League, but hasn't quite worked out here. Or I don't know what the name of their league, whatever their league name is, the one that we're traveling every week to Eskin. This is what they're doing, Raymond, and I don't think it affects this is what they want to do. So it's not this is by choice to a certain extent. They weren't necessarily placed in a league where they have to travel all the way to Sandy, to Escondido here basically every week, in this game. So that's just what they've chosen. And, it just hasn't worked out because their team's a little bit down. So
where exactly is Pine Valley? Have you ever been there?
Yeah, in fact, we have. What we used to do, I've ever told you this story, or we've shared it on the show here, but the reason why we cover Mountain Empire is because back before the internet, Raymond, we used to cover them at the Daily Californian with Mr. Dickens, and since there were no, that was the way you got the news out, right? There wasn't even Pigskin Report or anything like that, and it was just kind of like the only thing you really had was like Coach Quintero was starting up his little show at night where we call in and get the scores and all that. But Mountain Empire would call in all their game information. We would, publish it in the Daily Californian. And then each week they would give us money for gas, but one of our reporters or somebody would actually take a stack of Daily Californians and drive them out to Pine Valley. Campo, Pine Valley. And we would actually, sometimes they'd come and meet us halfway, and we'd take like 2 bushels of newspapers, and give them, we just gave them to them, and they would have their little coverage, and they'd always got like an 8-inch story with the game. And that's how we came to cover Mountain Empire, and why I've still done it to this day, even though we don't get much info. They're good enough to report their stats, and I'm going to continue that tradition that was set forth. And that's the story behind it. Is we used to cover them, even though they're way out there in Campo, Pine Valley area. That's why we've done it all those years. So, like I said, try to cover more.
Shout out to Johnny Padlin, 15 carries and for 92 yards.
Thank you.
Orange Glen, they had 2 rushers over 100. Bowen Cannon, 152 yards and a touchdown. Angel Rios, 111 yards and a touchdown. So a lot of rushing going on in that one. But hats off.
Thank you for following up on that game. I didn't do enough. I didn't even want to get into it too much. I like covering Mountain Empire when they're doing a little better.
Thanks for buying me time to do the research with that cool story.
Well, for me, I do like covering them when they're a little better to a certain extent. Remember, the one thing about why they've come out, they're so far south of the other teams to a certain extent. The teams that they kind of play, their rivalry games and everything, that this is a better, I guess. This is, I think, what Coach Van has said in the past about why they decided to do this and try to work their way into, making the road trips to San Diego instead. I don't know if it had to do with may have had something to do with the trek. Okay, let's get to the poll this week and see what we can find in there with Raymond's rankings, and see if we can break these down a little bit. I don't know if there's been any change in the 24-6 lately here. Look, um, Carlsbad. I mean, we know those games are tough, but it feels like they should win by a little bit more, Raymond. If they're gonna, I'm almost ready to. I've been keeping Carlsbad on top, maybe because I like talent all around. I mean, I love Lincoln's talent too, and we'll
I'm
see.
gonna shoot Carlsbad a little bit of bell. Torrey Pines did a good job controlling the clock. That offense that they run, the little
Yes.
wing T, I think they still run it. It's a clock killer. So they had a 7-0 lead in the first quarter, but it just shows Carlsbad's resilience. They came back and outscored like 17-0. So yeah, I'll shoot Carlsbad some bell there. But yeah, Lincoln's still number one. This was tough. The top four was easy. Number 10 was easy. Number 5 through 9 was probably the most difficult rankings I ever had to do because like a lot of these teams beat each other. You got Del Norte.
Yeah.
Their only loss was to actually no, they beat Torrey Pines.
Yeah. It
And
feels
Torrey
like they
Pines just
did.
been on a tear.
Yeah. It feels like we're moving. Like people were voting what they saw in the last couple of games and not researching who beat who. It feels like I don't know.
Yeah, this just been a bloodbath in the Avocado League. So the D1 playoffs gonna be interesting. I'm almost looking forward to the Division 1 playoffs as I am the Open Division.
Well, I've got
So
my eye on everything because of what we're doing. But okay, so Mission Hills number 5 in the computer. Torrey Pines number 6. I think I had Torrey Pines number 5 myself.
same here.
Yeah, and Del Norte, they're 8th up here. Maybe that one loss has everybody's attention. They're 10th in the computer. I've got
I got
Lacoste.
him number 6.
Okay, you do like Del Norte. Then you like that coaching
Yes.
staff, I know. And remember Del Norte. I mean, they've done an amazing job. I mean, it felt like Del Norte. They had a little bit of rough road there. I think it was kind of off field, if I'm not mistaken. And they've totally revamped their situation. I don't want to be wrong on that, but whatever the case, I don't care about that. I'm worried about what's on the field, and they're doing a great job here out of my jurisdiction. And
Yeah, tough
I still
loss.
have Cathedral. I think I have Cathedral a little higher than this, actually, but not too much higher. But still, I mean, strength of schedule, I guess. Could Mount Miguel defeat? Look at I'm talking about that Division 4 situation, right? But it's funny. Look at number 11 and number 12. Who'd win that game, Raymond?
11 and 12. Ooh, that'll be tough. I gotta slightly go with Modern Day Catholic. They got a
For
little
sure,
bit more
but
experience.
yeah, for sure. But
Slight.
look at how, yeah, because here's the thing: Mount Miguel and the computers do not get this type of respect. And if you look at some of the teams ahead of them in the computer rankings that you don't see on here, I don't know if I could do this to you. Mount Miguel versus Oceanside. Who do you like? These are not in
Mount
division.
Miguel.
I'm just saying. Okay, Mount Miguel and
They just
Ramona. They're not in the poll. They fell out. Mount Miguel and Ramona. Like Miguel?
Ramona, close one.
Okay. Mount Miguel and Poway, they're not in this poll. They probably should be in this. They're 3 and
These are
5.
all games I would like to see.
Yeah, see. So you have Mount Miguel, they've got that
But
little one.
Poway, I get an edge to Poway. I mean,
Right. Well, okay, and it's fun to play the Mount Miguel game, right? Because we're on the air. But let me try this with you. Brawley and Oceanside, who wins? Mission Bay and Oceanside, who win?
Oceanside.
Right. And so where's
Mission Bay and
Oceanside?
Oceanside. I
Uh-huh.
got Oceanside over Mission Bay, but I got Oceanside over Brawley.
Yeah. Oh no, I got you. Okay. Oh, you do have Oceanside over Brawley. Poway.
Yeah.
How about Poway against these teams? Poway's 3. How about where's La Jolla in this poll? They've clinched a league championship.
Yeah.
La Jolla.
I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Who wins? Madison versus Mission Bay. Madison's out of this
Madison.
poll. Madison versus Brawley. Madison versus yeah. See, so that's that's a.
Well, the reason we're seeing some of these teams because some of the media is ranking them at number 10. So that's the only reason.
Oh no, I
these
get
teams are
that,
popping up.
and some people will do the courtesy 10. I get that. I get all that.
Yeah.
these are not, we were not drawing it down to 15, but somebody's putting Brawley number 10. And look, I love watch. Hey, here's the one thing about, I watch a lot of those games because I'm out of town. What games are on? I get my NFHS. If you don't have your camera on, I can't see it, but uh, Valley Sports Network is awesome. Usually, I get 1 or 2 games a week. I'm watching on YouTube from the desert with those guys, with those legendary announcers, and I get to see those teams. But I know that Brawley's not gonna beat a lot of these teams, especially the ones like I said that aren't in the poll. Madison, La Jolla, Poway, Ramona
I
drops
mean,
out.
Brawley
Hey,
lost to Scripps Ranch, who I think they recently just lost to Patrick Henry. Oh
okay,
no, wait, did they?
yeah, and
I
Saints is
could be
in this.
wrong there, but
You don't
yeah,
have Saints in the top 15, and this can't. I feel like I don't know where you might have had Saints, but I
I
know I
didn't rank
had.
them.
Huh?
I don't think I didn't rank Saints. I have
Okay.
Cathedral at number
Well, because
10.
you're talking about in your top 10 that you submitted, and like I said, let me see. I don't know if I had them. Whatever the case may be, they're right there. I mean, I have them. The computer has Saints 11, and okay, we won't.
That's about right. We're
Okay,
gonna see how the Saints really are when they play Cathedral in the annual Holy Bowl.
yeah, because this would suggest obviously that the Saints are whatever 16, 17. They didn't, they dropped out of the poll. So,
It's another team with a tough schedule.
oh, for sure, for sure. But again, and they had a tough game last week, but I still have them right there, number 10ish or so. Okay, uh, look, doesn't matter. We'll get decided on the field. But uh, I guess the other thing that I was mentioning is those division battles, Raymond. The big thing that I keep, that I just wanted to refer to, well, maybe we should talk about in the matchups, but Santana actually fell behind Westview now. Mount Miguel is so far head and shoulders in those computer ratings, but Santana, I mean, they are almost even with, if they don't, we'll see if they can win this. They have a game they can win this week too. That'll probably guarantee them a top 4 seed. So let's get
Yeah,
into the
Santana's
matchup.
number 3 right now, from what I'm seeing.
Okay,
It's Mount
so yeah,
Miguel,
and look
Westview,
at
and
right,
Santana.
and you look at the difference, almost a touch, eight ratings points there between 4 and 5. So no, we'll get into it right now. I'll tell you. Let's just get. I can't wait. I can't wait till you know what. I'm gonna go right now into the matchups. Can't wait any longer. All right. Deep sigh. Pause for dramatic effect, Raymond. The Helix Highlanders will take on the Granite Hills Eagles in one of the biggest games that East County has ever seen in my lifetime. I'm
The
pretty sure.
granddaddy of them
I mean,
all.
I mean, we've had big teams, we've had big games, but to have 2 of the 4 teams, uh, you know, undefeated, coming off the epic 4 overtime, it just a mind-boggling experience this week at Granite Hills High School. Get there early, buy your tickets early, stand at the fence, stand on Madison Avenue at the gate, try to look over the giant inflatable I don't know, Raymond. This is it.
Yes, man, the one we've been waiting for since before the season. We knew these teams were going to clash. We knew these teams were going to be undefeated when they clashed, and now it's they both been running through everybody just on a crash course, and now these two speeding bullets are about to collide, and we'll see who's the last one standing. Um, this is tough, man. Both these teams are so evenly matched. Like, they both got a great offensive line, both got a great defensive line. The skill players, it's even. I'm just looking forward to seeing how these two teams match up. We just see them dominating everybody else, and other than the St. Augustine game, we really haven't seen Granite Hills on the edge, and I don't think we've seen Helix on the edge all year, except for some of their non-league games. But this should be interesting. This is going to be a great game. Um, it's going to be a great atmosphere at the Granite Hill Stadium. Yeah, get there early because it's going to be crazy. I don't think it's hard enough to park now uh, without Helix being there. So get there
in the
early,
biggest
find
parking
something.
lot in the
It's gonna be
county,
crazy.
but I mean, in the biggest parking lot in the East County, I think, by the way. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. The matchups I'm looking for, I want to see the Granite's offensive line versus the Helix defensive line. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I think that's going to really tell it. Speaking of defensive lines, you got Travis Ford, former Helix Highlander, now
I
with
couldn't
Greg
believe
Hill.
I didn't even process that when you said it,
Yeah.
Raymond. I didn't mean to blow it off. I didn't even make sense of what I didn't even, maybe I wasn't listening. Bad on me. You're telling me Travis Ford, that big man who was like uh felt like he was 6'5" as a freshman. He has found his way to Grand. He had to sit out, right? That's why we're only seeing him
Yeah,
now.
he's out for like 4 games.
He's on the Eagles now. Why would
Yes.
Travis? What do you do? I mean, well, I'm just speaking as a Helix fan now, right? But what are you doing?
Going to the winning team.
Oh, you're not making your prediction yet, are you? I thought
Oh,
you were
no, I'm
still
saying
picking
from
home.
last year.
Oh, okay.
From last year, Granite
Oh,
Hills
okay.
won that
Yes.
matchup.
Okay. Yeah. See what
Quadruple
happened,
overtime
Travis?
thriller.
He wanted to. Okay. We'll go ahead and break it down. I'll start cheering in a minute. I mean, I know everybody knows what I'm picking, and fortunately, I can. Even if I think the Eagles might have an edge, I can get away with picking Helix. So go ahead, Raymond. Keep breaking it down. I want to. I want to hear more.
Man, it's just so much to break down, man. You got a senior quarterback going up against a freshman quarterback. Will that make a difference? Is Zachary Benitez big game ready? Is he? I mean, that was a pretty big game against the Saints, and he had a great composure there, and he was able to get a game winner. But this is even bigger. The stakes are even higher. Um, well, this is for the league championship, but I think both teams will be in the open division despite what happens in this
Okay.
game.
We talked about it last week, so let's just spend a moment on that, Raymond. Uh,
Yes.
the It looks pretty solid that the loser of this game. I don't even think it matters if the game gets away from one of them. Although I feel like, I mean, if it was 4 overtimes last year, why wouldn't it be like come down to the wire this year? I mean, there's no guarantee of overtime, but I'd put a few bucks on it going to overtime. And it feels like it's a last possession or somebody's going to have a chance to win the game on the last drive. I mean, why wouldn't it be? No doubt. But again, I don't know if the result can change anything with these two teams heading to the open division. There was some speculation about how that could play out, but again, look at the jumble right now at 5. Nobody even knows, right? Look at everybody's like guessing who's number 5, 6, or 7 between the El Caminos, the Red Hot Torrey Pine, the Torrey Pines, and all that. And quite frankly, those teams don't look like they match up with any of the top 4 teams. Now, I am going to stay that the way the Eagles, and I think people are starting. You've said it maybe more than I have. These two teams have a chance to pull an upset. They will be considerable underdogs against those other two teams, but no doubt, um, they're not. Neither of these two teams are going to gain on Carlsbad. I don't expect any more bumps along the way. Right? You maybe know about the county teams more than I do at the top, but it's going to be Lincoln against the loser of this game. It's going to be Carlsbad against the winner of this game.
Yeah, it's looking like unless Carlsbad or Lincoln slip up, which I don't see them doing. Yeah. Right now, Mission Hills is number 5, and as we know, Mission Hills already lost to Granite Hills, so I don't see them getting the advantage. And then you got Torrey Pines. After that, they lost to Del Norte, so that's gonna work against them. And then you have a Cathedral Catholic team that's 3-6, and it's gonna have a losing record. So yeah,
The,
I
the
think the
reason why
top 4, I think they're safe.
the reason why it keeps them in, Raymond, is because the team that they lost to, whether it be Helix losing to Granite or Granite losing to Helix, they've lost to a team with the super high power rating. All those other teams that'll have one loss, all their loss is going to be to a team, I believe, that doesn't have that, right? And the teams that have lost to the top 2 teams are in the tough league where they've lost 2 games. So I don't think there's a path, but we'll just see. I'm not look. I haven't looked that deep, but this is what everybody's saying, and I want to agree with it. Okay, do we want to?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we want? Um, look, you go first. I mean, if you take Helix, I might be compelled to take Granite because I do like everything about what's gone on with the Granite development, the program. I called them last week a football player factory at this point. I'm pretty sure they have two freshman teams, right? And, they draw from a wide swath. Remember, the Grossmont Conference is in, they're either it's gonna happen. It's supposed to, there's supposed to be an Alpine school coming. If I don't know when that is, or if it's even a thing anymore. But there's supposed to be because Granite covers a pretty big area. There's some kids that go to Granite, like pretty far north of Elko. Kind of reaching in kind of the back of that area past the casinos and north, kind of like more towards El Cap. They draw also south over there to Alpine. Is there so just a wide area, a lot of kids, and not to mention some of the great football talent that's kind of come into it as well because of the great coaching that they get there, and people want to play there, obviously, and Mr. Ford did as well. And so I'll tease if I can, Mr. Ford, and say, what were you thinking? And you wanted to go to the winning team, and here we are. I'm speaking as a Highlander now, Raymond. Uh, we're coming in as well. I'm looking at the computer here, sir. The Helix Highlanders are the favorite according to the computer.
I can't even decide. Like these teams are so evenly matched on all sides of the ball. I'm trying to see a scenario where one team is better than the other, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm
No,
gonna
it's
take the safe
unfair.
bet and go at Helix. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
it's
at Helix
actually.
because I think, yeah, Helix is a lot better than they were last year. I will tell you this much. I think both teams are an improvement over last year, to be honest. But I think Helix improvement is more dramatic, and they got a little bit more athletes. I'm gonna go with Helix, but I wouldn't be surprised if Granite Hills pulled it off. They've
Oh
shown they can win
no,
the big games.
you
I'm,
went
I'm
with
on the fence, man.
Helix. Okay, and I said Helix is favorite, but you know what? They don't really take into too much a home field, so I mean, it's probably a toss up. You went with Helix. I'd feel terrible if I went, against the Highlanders right
All right,
here.
I'll go with Granite Hills then. Since you're going with Helix, I'll go with Granite Hills.
Feels like we're getting away from the theme of the show, but nonetheless, we'll get a chance to root for these guys again to win it all. And I don't know, some years it felt like, when Helix was kind of falling short, they weren't going to make the open division. I hope they just, get the number one seed and the number in the division one. They can do some damage. They can, go on to the state playoff or whatever here. But this is great. And you broke it down great. And, uh, you know, Benitez, like I said, Jesse unfortunately got caught up in the pandemic year with it, when because he was a freshman starter. But Benitez looks, on a little bit higher trajectory than Jesse was at that point. Like I said, Jesse's got a Division One scholarship, Mountain West, and why couldn't Benitez succeed in that same fashion? With there just seems to be no. It's not ending for Granite Hills after like this is some flash in the pan. I mean, this is a, they'll have to. They've got talented young players. They've got some players leaving, but let's worry about this season and this game on Friday night, the big one. All right. Well, I guess I got to take Helix with. I'm gonna go. If you switched for just for me, I feel bad. Let's not even pick this game. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm on the
great though.
fence.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to start. We should stop talking and move on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can talk. Even down, right? Even down. Okay, if we got to bring it all even down, Raymond. How about even down to the kicking game? You can't tell me that maybe Robert Petrich has been the better kick, but uh, uh, Josh Norman Lee's has been pretty good too, right? So
Yeah,
well,
both got two of the best kickers in the county, and both of them were very critical in that last year's overtime game. They both needed some critical field goals to keep that game going. So
Hoffman
we could be
Lee's.
seeing the same
Yeah.
thing here.
I better get that right. Joshua Hossman Lees. Don't want to get confused. He's got they got a hyphenated name. The new quarterback for next year. Also, that's Norman Lester Hossman Lees. Sorry about that, Joshua. And you are also having a great last 2 years with the Highlanders. Petrich seems to me like the top kicker in these county, but Hossman Lees doesn't miss very many. Like I said, we've got some good kicking out here. These guys might be the best. And keep your legs ready, guys, because one of you guys going to maybe be the guy carried off on the shoulders at the end of the game, possibly, as it feels like, Raymond. Knocking down that 35-yarder with no time on the clock. Get ready, kickers. All right. I hope we didn't get too crazy there. I feel like we're missing something with that. I've already changed the graphic. I was actually going to talk about Jamaja Jones a little. Like, I don't know if I saw it coming, Raymond. Coach Jones has been there, so I was figuring I was happy that Helix went in-house, right? But then the disappointment that we saw the El Camino game last year, and it felt like, man, but I've been through it before with Helix a little bit with a down year, but man, to come up like this and end up with one of the best teams in Highlander history, I would think at this point. Okay, so this is showdown week in the Grossmont Conference, Raymond. All these matchups are like the teams that are right next to each other in the standings and the power ratings, kind of. And you can't tell me that Santana isn't necessarily. Now, Santana might be favored in this game, but this feels like a great matchup to have. Like, I couldn't tell you necessarily who's going to win. I think Santana is a fair favorite here. They're 0-3 in league. Grossmont is the one with a victory. Both teams coming in 4-4. So if Benson's healthy, that's obviously a big thing for Santana. Like I said, I was worried about that certainly. But what do you think here?
Yeah, this is a very winnable game for Santana. I hate to say it because I'm a fan of Grossmont, but yeah, I think this could go either way. I still want to believe in Grossmont. I still want to believe they got the athletes and the players to win this game. But much like West Hills, I think Santana is going to put up a fight. They're home. They want to get that win. They don't want to go into this new league winless. So it's going to be a fight. I like the way Jaden Goldman is playing. I like the way Benson's playing. Isaiah Lloyd is putting up numbers on defense. But they need to Grossmont needs to get Bigley going. Need to get that Herbert to Bigley connection going. It seemed to be working great. Man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Grossmont. I think Grossmont gonna get it together this week.
Okay, then I'll take Santana. I'll be the guy in this one. I'll take Santana. We can have another because I'm not sure actually. The computer, I believe, has Santana as the slight favorite in this one, and I don't know. Maybe that was, like I said, it felt like a disappointment for Grossmont this week. I'm sure they're even more disappointed in this one than they were in the other, not the Helix game, but when they had lost on their home field. But Benson's key. I wish I knew more about that situation. But these are the matchups, at least in the kind of saves the season for the Grossmont Hills League teams because of, the lopsided games that they're going to face. I mean, for Santana to lose last week in such lopsided fashion, but they can get right back up here this week. And like I said, number 2 seed could be on the line every time they go out there right now. Santana in great position in the playoff picture right now. Like I said, Raymond, Santana, Mount McGill, that could be a playoff game either in the semifinals or the finals in Division 4. That's kind of in the years, I think they played maybe one, but they had trouble. One game, I want to say, I don't think it was a COVID year actually, or maybe it was. I think the COVID game got canceled. One of the teams might have got sick and they didn't get to play. And I was like, oh, that's the matchup. This was a little bit before, obviously before the resurgence of Mount McGill, but, couldn't you see a good matchup between those Mount Miguel teams of the past couple of years when they had Laverty going up against Santana? That would be a good matchup with Mount Miguel in that league. But this one works. So in the Hills League, even though we have the lopsided season, to me this works. Grossmont and Santana. This is a fine game, a fine matchup. If you go to this game, you're not going to be able to know who's going to win before it starts, and that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun of it. All right. Let me get another next one. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with some of these here. They're all good. And this one, if any, feels to me like something's at stake here. I don't know what it is, but West Hills has shown themselves maybe to be the number 3 or number 4 team. This is it. Number 3 or number 4. The winner of this game. I know Grossmont if they win, but I feel like these are the two better teams. I think these teams maybe because West Hills beat Grossmont, obviously. But we know the Grossmont Steel Canyon. So where do you put these guys? But I'm right? Steel Canyon, they're favored to win by about, I believe, 4 or 5 points on the computer. But I think West Hills can compete here.
Yeah, I think West Hills could win this game too. Steel Canyon, if you remember, they lost to Grossmont earlier.
Right.
It was a hard-fought loss. So
Yeah.
If West Hills is beating Grossmont, then they probably got a chance to beat Steel Canyon. But styles make fights, man. It's a different matchup, a different game. Steel Canyon has been playing tough in their wins. Nico Jara's playing great. Jonathan Sablon's running the ball well. And the other Herber brother, the younger Herber, he's been slinging the ball pretty well too. But West Hills is on a mission right now. I like their momentum heading into this one. They got to be feeling very confident.
I will say this, and we talked about it last week. West Hills, you mentioned, I didn't know they were up there. They're actually sitting in a top 4 seed position. They're, this victory could help seal them a top 4. But for Steel Canyon, it's almost a playoff game. They are 12th right now in Division 2, Raymond, and right behind them is Christian, by the way. And the group right there. Now, here's the thing: University City's 1-7. They're number 14. They're a few points down. Steel is a point ahead of Christian in that computer rating. So this feels like a must-win for Steel Canyon in a way.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see University City in the playoffs. They better hope and pray that they don't make it, because University City is probably the toughest one-win team in the county.
Yeah, they played the toughest.
Yeah, they scheduled high. Their players are playing great. They got like 4 players who can probably have D1 scholarships right now. So, this is a very critical game. For those who are in D2, need to be cheering loud and proud for Steel Canyon, because you do not want to see University City if they slip in. But, this is going to be an interesting game, man. I think it's going to be close. Kind of similar to the game Steel Canyon had with Grossmont. That was a pretty close game down to the wire. I think this is going to be one of those.
Here's the funny thing about it. We think about Steel Canyon, right, and how they have improved this season to have this record and everything. And, it was a disappointment last week. But if they win this game and they kind of solidify their spot in the postseason, look at the teams that are in Division 2. This is going to be a great playoffs to me, because look at Steel. They would open up against a team like Scripps Ranch or Point Loma. They'd be underdogs, but they could beat those. They could beat those teams on the road with a good effort. We've seen Steel Canyon go on the road and pull playoff upsets before. So I think that they can compete with the likes of Oceanside, Scripps, or Point Loma if they were to squeak into the playoffs and win a game or two, I would think. I mean, even the top. I mean, I know Del Norte's up there, but La Jolla, like I said, nobody even put them in their top 10, and they just went out and won the Eastern League. And Rancho Bernardo, they're doing pretty well, but you got to think Steel Canyon can compete with
Another
teams
tough
like
outing.
huh?
La Jolla is another tough outing. They might be the best team in that division. The way Jackson Deal is playing,
Okay,
plus they got a great run game with Aiden McGill. Division two is stacked, man. You got Rancho Bernardo, right there, Oceanside, of course. But
is
man,
it stacked or is it balanced or both? Or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but
I think it's stacked. I
okay.
mean, I think the best team is 1-7 UC.
You
They're
think? Oh,
probably
you have the
probably
best. Okay,
they're one of the best teams. They're just down there because of their record, but I think
but
they're one of
that
the
that
best
that,
teams
that
in that division. And I think
honestly,
everybody's hoping and praying they stay down there, which is likely. They have I think UC still got to play Lincoln, and they got who else? I think Saints. They got Saints and Lincoln left, so those are probably two losses that'll knock them out of the playoff.
okay.
But that's a scary team. I would not want to see them.
Well, it
But
sounds like Raymond
so
should
still
write.
can't anybody got a chance.
Sounds like we should
I
be
just
writing a new computer program because if they're one, I mean, I know losing, losses are gonna, and maybe it is appropriate that losses do count for something in these standings anyway, considering. But yeah, no, I no doubt that they played the toughest schedule of all the teams in Division Two, according to the computer. So the computer has that part of it right. And I guess if they had 2 wins, they'd be in the playoffs right now. Okay. Uh, in this one, did we see? I'm going to take Steel Canyon because their backs are to the wall. I think they know that. I don't think they're ignoring. I don't think they're. That has to be. I don't think you overlook that when instructing a team. I don't think Coach Longerbone and his staff. I think the whole focus is we need this game for the playoffs. That has to be what you tell a team. I hope I'm not ruining it. Like we won't tell them they're because kids don't really follow the, I mean, I know they do kind of, right? They look at the max spread, they know the ratings, they know where they stand. They don't need to be told, but that's how you approach this game. If you're Steel Canyon, it's you got to get to the playoffs. You don't even pay attention to the West Hill. Not that there's a rivalry there, or anything like that. I mean, uh, you know, one's on the one end of the 125 and one's on the other, but uh, nonetheless, just ignore the West Hills. Ignore you don't even know who you're playing. You got to go out there and win if you're Steel Canyon this week. West Hills actually.
Yeah, come on.
I don't want to say it like this because you won't. Don't watch this. Please, any West Hills player, please turn off your computer. Hit the pause button and skip 5 seconds. West Hills, they're in Raymond. Yeah, they want to get a 4 seed. They're in the playoffs. Nothing. This is you want to win every game. You're going to go out. You have things you have to learn if you're West Hills. West Hills is never going to be underprepared with Casey Ash. I know that. But West Hills is in the playoffs. They can't. We're not going to win the league title. We want to win every game. I hope I'm not saying something stupid here. They're
They
in.
want to get that
Steel
first
Canyon,
round bye though. They're sitting in third place.
that's
So
what you say. We need a buy. We need a buy. Get that.
they're
top
coming in hungry. Trust me. They coming off. They beat a team that beat Steel Canyon, so they're gonna come over there highly confident
Okay.
and knowing that they could win. So I'll go with West Hills. Since
And
you're
there's
going
still a
Steel
chance. I mean, I don't want to be stupid anymore, but if West Hills loses this game, they still could get a number 4, but that's not for certain. So go win West Hills, but Steel Canyon. I want all these county teams in, Raymond. I got to pick Steel Canyon, right? I got it. Just because of that. Unfortunately, it looks like, Steel Canyon's in, Christian's probably out, and vice versa. I don't know about that UC, especially if they're going to lose another game. So looks like one of our two teams, looks like one's in, one's out anyways.
If UC beats Saints, they'll probably sneak in that 12th seed. And
Yeah,
man,
good game. But like I
feel
said,
sorry for the other team.
I have Saints higher. One more note here before, because we'll get to Christian in a minute, though. But so Raymond, I got Steel Canyon over Christian this year. They're not playing. There's no chance of them playing. But I mean, if I'm looking at the two teams in the playoffs, and maybe, like I said, I think Steel Canyon can compete with those teams that I mentioned, whereas I think Christian would have a much more difficult time with some of those, with the anywhere of the 5, 6, 7 teams in Division Two.
And yeah, Steel Canyon, they stacked their schedule for a reason. They're one of those teams that make sure they have a competitive out of league schedule just for moments like this. Heading into the playoffs, they're going to be battle tested. So I agree with what you're saying.
Okay, let's move on now to Raymond, this is uh, this is a championship game in the Grossmont Valley League. The Mount Miguel Matadors will take on the El Cajon Valley Braves with a league championship on the line at uh, El Cajon Valley this Friday night. That's a fact.
It's a
And
trap.
yeah, yeah, no doubt about it.
It's a
And
trap.
it's a trap. It's a tarpy game, and there's no doubt. I mean, the Matadors, even on their worst day, are probably 5 touchdown or more favorites in this game. But like I said, the important thing is that the El Cajon Valley Braves are playing in this championship game, uh, and uh, they'll have an opportunity to showcase themselves a little bit at home. And I know you're going to be very respectful and say, "Hey, this is a chance for the Braves." They're really going to be overmatched here in this game, but um, the Braves, the one thing they do, like they're a disciplined team. They stay focused. This coaching, this is not. Um, I don't even like to talk about some of the Braves teams of the past when we would talk about them because we would say things, oh, they're undisciplined, this all, and it was true to a certain extent. Some things would happen like that because of this coaching staff. That rarely happens anymore. These guys are, uh, you know, they're doing a great job. They're professionals out there, these Braves.
The Braves got a lot of momentum coming into this. If I'm El Cajon Valley, I'm treating this like a championship game. This is our
It is.
championship game.
Yeah.
Let's win this, and like this can really flip our momentum and our season really upside down. And they're at home too, so yeah, I'm going with Mount Miguel still. But if Mount Miguel don't be careful, this could be a trap game. Both games that Mount Miguel got coming up could be a trap. I mean, they got El Cajon Valley this week. Then next week they got the rivalry against Monte Vista. So these are two winnable games for Mount Miguel. They just got to play their game. Don't overlook El Cajon Valley, and just do what you've been doing. That's made you successful, and you should be all right. But yeah, I'm going with Mount Miguel, even though I think El Cajon Valley is going to put up a great fight.
Well, you're so kind. I need to be blunt. That's what I'm. Well, like I said, we're not running a scam here. Nobody's ever paid a. Well, yeah, maybe we've been on the payroll of a few places, Raymond. But uh, I here to be honest, Mount Miguel, the computer says 44 points. I'm doing the math in my head. And Mount Miguel, yeah, they've had a little bit of. I don't want to call anybody out. They've missed some extra points, so maybe things. But 44 is not 42. So I'm going to say the Braves stay within 5. I'm going to even say 5 touchdowns. I know that says 6 or more, but um, the Braves, I think, have just been one of the biggest stories this year. Yeah, was I disappointed in the loss to Monte Vista? Yeah, I think that if anything, that was a down point for that. Not used to be the case. The Braves disappointing in a game, but they did in that game, and I think they know it. So no problem. I'm gonna call out the Braves on that. They know they probably were kicking themselves of losing a game like that, even though Monte Vista's done such a nice uh, job this season. So, but for me, I'll take uh, of course, El Cajon Valley here, Raymond, in this one. And to be fair, I don't think this is going to hurt them too much, but they are in uh, position in a top 4 seed, and I believe that they will keep that. I believe that their victory over Valhalla solidified their bye because Valhalla is seeded number 5 currently, Raymond. And we'll see because the next game is going to be important that we're going to talk about. But the Braves are going to compete against the likes of teams that they're kind of familiar with, right? They might be in a matchup with a team like Vincent Memorial, in the final 4. I mean, right now Vincent Memorial 2, El Cajon 3, Hoover's 4, Sweetwater's number 1, but that's a good mix. And the Braves have played Vincent Memorial, I believe, in each of the last couple of seasons. They're familiar with teams. They've had good points and bad points against those teams, but I feel like they match up great against the Scots and all the teams in the in Division 4. The Raymond, let me just, if I could spit it out. Both these teams are CIF championship contenders for sure. Mount Miguel's a favorite.
I agree. Actually, El Cajon Valley already beat Vince Memorial, so I
That's
don't see
right.
why
This
they're
year they
ahead
did
of
beat
them.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see why they're ahead of them in the standings. I guess it's they got better wins or something. So I don't know if El Cajon Valley could pull off an upset. I think that would shoot them to number one. The number one team is Sweetwater, who Mount Miguel blew out the water. So no pun intended. But yeah, this is a big game. They should treat it like it. I would go into this like it's the Super Bowl or the national championship. This is probably the biggest game of the year right here. This will say a lot where your team is at and where it's
Are you
heading.
talking about for the Braves? I mean,
Uh, yeah, for El Cajon Valley, they should treat
okay. I
this
mean,
like a
but
big.
I mean, they know. I mean, in the back of your mind, even a young man from El Cajon has to pay attention. I mean, they know. Are you just saying, let's go out there and play a great game, and if we just compete, we know that. Look, the thing about a game like this, you want to stay healthy. You know you can win a championship, so you don't want to get anybody hurt or anything like that. The depth is still, even though the Braves do get more players nowadays than they used to, but any of these star players, like I said, and again, I have big question marks at quarterback now. If this young man who has been playing, I believe, defense most of the year, but remember his stats kind of DuBose is a great leader out there and protects the ball tremendously and can run. I don't know about this. I didn't see enough of the action, but his passing stats were far superior to what DuBose, you know, does with his game. It was a completely different. Now, maybe that's by design. Maybe they said, wow, we have a quarterback here. Maybe we're going to see a different Braves team. I don't think it's going to make the difference, but still can't argue that guys like, Paris Dixon, he's certainly a top, player in the entire East County, not, Hills League or Valley League, notwithstanding. So, just have a good performance. I would guess is what you're alluding to.
What was the last time they were a part of a game like this where they had a
No,
big
they
opponent coming
actually
to their
no,
house and the
they've
league
been
titles on
in
the line?
No, they've been. I should have been better. I almost could look at Partleton right now and see, but I want to say last year they actually played in the game with the same situation where they had a loss, and the team that won LCAT, was it LCAT, right? Might have had a win, so they were also a big underdog
Wow,
in
this is
the.
actually a revenge game for Mount Miguel. I think El Cajon Valley beat them last year 47-32. So this is
Oh,
actually
that's
a revenge
awesome!
game.
Thank you. I should. One thing I have slacked on this, other than doing previews and all that. I mean, I still love these games, but just kind of a little bit out of the scene. A little bit has kind of bummed me out. But that is great to note because that is, um, almost funny, right? 47-32 in that game. Don't forget. I mean, same. That was a Barton-led team. I'm pretty sure last year. So, okay, well, enough there. But this is a. Oh no, I was going to look just to see, right? So yeah, you look at that, Raymond, as far as El Cajon Valley last year. So they started off with they were uh, 3-1. Okay, here it is. So you might be looking at the same thing I am. They had uh, 3 wins and 1 loss when they went into the game at West Hills, and I think that was an important game at the time. Like, oh, maybe it wasn't a championship. Okay, I want to say in one of the recent years they came in the same situation. Maybe I'll try to get more on that recently because this resurgence. I know you've been talking about this the first time you and I have been together, and you've been so kind to the Braves. But we've seen this coming, and I know you have too. But they've been on the upswing here uh, uh, over the last, out of the pandemic. Really, they've been up, up, up. Okay. Next up, we have another important game where I keep saying like all the teams are matched up. So this is another key game because of the Division Four playoff race right here, Raymond. So these teams are in Division Five. I'm sorry, these teams are in the playoffs. So I don't know what to gain here other than the experience, or obviously for Valhalla, we know what it means. You don't want to have that zero here at the end of the season, and this is your last chance. They are a favorite in the computer, but I've been so impressed with Monte Vista this season. Right, their wins were fun, and they won them in such exciting fashion, and they've been competitive in most of their losses. And Valhalla let a few get away where maybe they. It seems like Monte Vista just keeps trying. Not that Valhalla doesn't as well. I'll say it. I mean, Valhalla is favored in the computer. Are you with me, Raymond? I didn't. Your mic.
Oh, sorry, I got muted. I was saying this is a pretty important game as far as the Division 5 standings go. Valhalla don't want to be winless in the Valley League. Monte Vista, they want to add another win to their total, get some more momentum heading into the playoffs. It's going to be an interesting game. Both teams got great running games, so it should be able to run the clock a little bit. I'm gonna get a slight edge to Monte Vista since they're the home team.
Okay, I'll take Valhalla. They need a win. I kind of think Monte Vista could, being at home. Like I said, I really like what has gone on there. And actually, Valhalla maybe just a little bit of slip. I'm not talking about the tough games, but last week I thought they'd do a little better against the Braves as far as the final score is concerned. Interesting to note, Raymond, though, I would think almost that if we look at here with Valhalla and their position, you were just talking about where these teams stand in Division 5. It looks to me like Valhalla, maybe I could look at Hoover's schedule, but Valhalla could still find a way into the top 4. And a victory would go a long way in doing that against Monte Vista, even though, Monte Vista is the 8th seed. I don't think there's enough between. Look at, there was only less than one ratings point between Hoover and Valhalla.
Yeah, this is the last game of the season for Valhalla actually, so they need to make this one count. And Hoover is a scary playoff team. They got so much explosiveness on offense with Sir Audrey, Noriega at quarterback, and Xavier Williams at the wide receiver. So I'd be scared of them going into that playoffs. But yeah, it should be a fun one. You might see a Valhalla and El Cajon Valley game again.
Could, yeah.
Yeah, it should be a fun, interesting game, man. Hopefully, they both run the ball down each other's throat and just let that clock run and see who comes out on top.
Yeah, this is real good for Valhalla. Both these teams are in. They're in the playoffs. Only one team misses in Division 5 because of the right. I think they didn't shorten this Division 5. I actually didn't check, but
they added a 5V or
yeah,
a
did they
5
shorten?
AA.
Okay. Boy, I feel almost. I don't know if they shortened.
They took like 8 teams. They took like 8 of the worst teams and put them in their own thing. So they
right. And I was like, what are they doing? But actually, they're all those teams are pretty happy about it. Did they shorten the Division 5 playoffs though to 8 teams now? I guess I'll look into that maybe next week.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't have that information on me.
I almost want to look it up on the fly, but I don't want to keep you too long. We got to go. But otherwise, because that would make it a must-win situation almost for Valhalla. We should be better. I should be better on that. But I didn't even know they switched, broke open that Division 5. They all like it. I did hear about it a little bit or read some things that they all thought it was cool, but I didn't think there was that much of a discrepancy between some of those. Maybe there are, but well, more championships, the better. We've got so many games to cover. Let's keep going. Here's Christian and Mira Mesa. I know Mira Mesa is better than this 2-6 record, and Christian's actually 4-4, I believe, here. But these guys have played some interesting games over the last couple of years. Usually the game is meant a little bit more. Like I said, Christian, it's a must-win situation. They are sitting outside of the playoff bubble at this point at number 13. Like we mentioned, trailing Steel Canyon in Division 2. Tough part for Christian is here. They haven't looked very good on the road. So they've been inconsistent, let's just say.
At Mira Mesa, they looked good in their loss to Madison. I like the way they played, and I like the way they fought Madison. They They got a great quarterback in Tyson Line. He's among the elite quarterbacks in the county. Chris Brown's one of the best athletes in the county. It's going to be a tough matchup for Christian. Uh, as far as East County goes, I hope they get it done, but I can see Mira Mesa taking this.
Mira Mesa is favored by a touchdown by the computer in this one. And like I said, Christian has a little bit more inconsistency than what I'm familiar with, with the program. Certainly now, granted, they are in a different league this year than what they are used to. But again, they've played this team in the past, or I shouldn't say that they're in the teams mixed up a little bit. They're in the same league, but La Jolla left right to go the other league, and anyways, surprised to see both these teams 0-2 right now in league play. All right. I'll take Mira Mason that one. I don't have too much on this one, but
it don't get any easier for Christian. I think they gotta play La Jolla, and La Jolla is red hot. So yeah, two important games for Christian right now, starting with this one.
they need to win. It feels like they need to win them both, and they could win this. It feels like I say inconsistent in a good way. It feels like they have more potential than they've shown, and they've disappointed where they should have been better. So I'm sure that they want to be better. Let's take a look here. A couple more, get you out of here. I don't know if you took a look at this one at all, Raymond. With I just want to mention it because La Jolla, you mentioned La Jolla, and they are the league champs of the city. What is it? City League, City League. I want to get that right, but they won their
City League.
City League, right? You're right. They're up against Patrick Henry here in a non-league game, but just interesting to note because of La Jolla. Like I said, they are number 2 in Division 2 right now, and they're going to be. You talk.
Sorry. La Jolla's in the Eastern League. Patrick Henry's in the senior. It's in the City League.
Okay, that's right. So La Jolla, right? Because La Jolla, right? Okay.
Eastern League, yes.
There have been some movement in that league as well that I wasn't totally up to speed on, I guess. So, nonetheless, they're going to be taking on Henry here, and La Jolla's having a great season once again. They've clinched at least a tie for the league title. I believe they have 2 league games or 1 league game left. Here, this is a non-league game, but Patrick Henry, number 5 seed in Division 3. I don't know. They could, I guess, an upset here would catapult them into the top 4.
Yeah, Patrick Henry got a lot of talent. I was at that game against Mission Bay, and I really got to see how talented they are. They took Mission Bay to the wire. Unfortunately, got the loss in overtime, but La Jolla is much tougher. Actually, La Jolla beat Mission Bay, so it's going to be a lot tougher competition coming to Patrick Henry this time around. Like I said, Jackson Dill, he's having a Player of the Year candidate type of season. His brother Carson is putting up numbers on both sides of the ball. La Jolla stacks, man. They should. Well, I think they should be undefeated right now. They let a couple slip away, so it's going to be a tough game for Patrick Henry. Never say never. Patrick Henry is capable of beating anybody they play against. But I'm gonna go with La Jolla.
Yeah, Deal's a top. You mentioned some of the best quarterbacks, and Deal. I don't know. He might be. He's top 10, I would think, in the county, right? Remember, it was he left the game that we talk about, one of the games that slipped away, right? Wasn't it against El Capitan that Deal got injured, and El Capitan
got injured. El Cap came back and won.
Took advantage, and Deal missed a little bit more, but he's come back, and he's back to being, like I said, maybe top. They're very good quarterbacks. We know we have some elite quarterbacks in this county, some of the best in the, maybe 1 or 2 in the country, 2 of the best. But Deal certainly is up there among the names you'd have to mention as top quarterbacks in the county this year. It feels like to me, and I think La Jolla, seeing them not in that, poll, I feel like they're being disrespected a little bit here. I know we got a lot of good teams, but feels like they're not getting as much credit, and they're expected to win this game.
I think
Okay.
that upset loss to Scripps Ranch is why they lost some respect. Wait, no, I'm sorry, they beat Scripps Ranch. It was a close one. They
Okay.
lost to Rancho Bernardo and to El Cap. So those are two big
Yeah.
losses that were critical. But I don't know if they're a top 10 team, but they're in that brink. They're in the brink. It's tough right now. That from 5 to 20, it's tough. It could be anywhere. I know for the top four teams is a lock, but outside of that, man, it's crazy. And
Well, they're
Hoya deserves to be
certainly,
in the conversation.
yeah, they're at least top uh, 15 or 6. Like I said, I don't even think they were on
Yeah,
that
I'll
list.
give them top 15. That's fair.
Yeah.
Top 15
I
and
don't
top
even think they
20.
were on that list, right? They weren't even on that. Nobody gave them a 10 vote.
Nah, no
Oh,
one gave them a 10 vote. That's why. But they are in that conversation.
okay. Who would win, La Jolla or Mount McGill? We're done with that. We're done
Come
playing that
on,
game.
man. You're killing me, man.
Done playing that game. All right. Rock Academy is going to be taking on Mountain Empire here. Well, maybe Mountain Empire can pull one off here, taking on Rock Academy at home. It's been a disappointing season, but I'll pull for him here. Let's try Mountain Empire to win against the Rock Warriors in this one. Raymond, it feels like been pretty disappointing for Mountain Empire this season, and they'll be at home at least here in a league game, coming off that 41-7 loss against Orange Glen. And
Hey, you won?
go ahead. Did you have? I didn't really have that much. You had mentioned Johnny Patton's game before. I don't know if you mentioned Corey Van had 127 yards last week. I believe he had missed time. I didn't see him in a couple box scores. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but it feels like Corey Van actually might have missed a game in there somewhere. And Michael Noble had a touchdown reception last week for Mountain Empire, and they are underdogs here, I believe, against the Rock. The Rock is two touchdown favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rock. They're playing better ball right now. Um, yeah, the Rock is coming off they're coming off a 40-0 win over Maranatha, whatever.
Maranatha.
I always get to Maranatha Christian. I'm sorry, I always screw that up. But yeah, I think they're gonna carry that momentum into this game and get a win over the Red Hawks. But
Okay.
we'll see.
A couple more Red Hawks I want to mention. You'd mentioned some before on the other, but I didn't touch on them in the recap. But senior Phoenix Tanny having a great year. He had 2 fumble recoveries in last week's game, as did sophomore Jason Landman. All right, 8-man game here as Foothills Christian is on their way to possibly a league championship, and they're going to take on Coastal Academy. Foothills Christian going to be a huge favorite in this one to beat Coastal and hopefully head on to their league championship here as the season kind of winds down, and the Knights here will be favored in this one as they try to go to 6-2. Remember, their losses have been to very good teams, so it's been another strong year for Foothills Christian. And yeah, Raymond, you got it. I got my answer. Ben Hernandez back in the lineup. That don't know what happened, don't know what's going on. I don't follow him that closely. Not in communication with him. Don't get any stats or recaps. But see it on Max. I noticed he wasn't there in that big game they played against the Southern section, but he was back last week. It looks like he's a big part of the team. Obviously, everybody knows that.
Yeah,
right.
I'm looking for Foothills Christian to win this one. They got some great athletes on their team. I'm looking for another big game from Cam Brown. Can we give an 8-man player of the year consideration?
What I've done in the past is I've included, I kind of try to rank them. I would think I try to position where they might fit in. I don't think I've ever had an 8-man player make the All East County first team, but the player does make the. I've had 8-man players make second teams, and we've had third teams in the past. Some years we've done it different than others, but the Foothills Christian representatives, their best players will often make the second, and I imagine that's what we'll have this year is a first and a second team, and certainly a major consideration. I'll definitely heed your advice there. And for Mr. Brown, obviously the
Yes.
numbers are there, and everything's in play. Like I said, in these 8-man games, especially when you get two good teams together, like this one may be lopsided, but you'll still have Foothills probably putting up 8 touchdowns, and I don't know much about Coastal. This kind of feels like a 56-21 type of game. Maybe on the road, maybe it'll be 49-28, but I don't even think it'll be that close.
I
Coastal
thought this
lost.
game was at Junior Stadium. I might have made a mistake on the graphic there.
Oh, as far as the location of the game is concerned?
Yes. I
Oh.
thought this was a home game for Foothills, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I got Foothills winning this one. And Cam Brown is definitely having one of those years that he should be considered for some awards. Maybe
It is
not
indeed.
first team.
Yeah, I'll fix it,
No
Raymond.
worries.
Did you have more on
Uh,
the?
Oh no, that's it. I don't really have much on Foothills Christian. But it should be a great game. Should be a great win for Foothills as they prepare for the 8-man playoffs, which I believe they're going for that number 1 seed. I think St. Joseph's is up there too. I think there's going to be the 1 and 2 seed in the 8-man playoffs. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and if anything, so here you have maybe if I can just kind of equate what's going on, but how to get. So yeah, I guess I have to switch it now. So if they're at home, so 56-21 sounds maybe even more logical here. But just for a little bit of comparison, we know that Foothills Christian, for example, beat Calvin Christian, one of their top rivals, 43-30 on the road. Coastal Academy lost last week to Calvin Christian at home, 28-22. So that says Foothills is a favorite right there. Raymond, thank you so much. We only have we'll be here in the playoff. Don't worry, people. Don't worry, folks. But we still have one more week of the regular season, and of course that means one more week also of East County Prep Football report recaps, and then one more week of previews, and we'll know exactly what's going on with the postseason. But Raymond, thank you very much. I don't know. Here's how to
Want to shout out
find.
the player of the weeks real quick?
Oh my God! Thank you. What am I thinking? Thank you.
Jeez,
I know.
trying to leave out.
Right. We don't want to scam anybody here. I guess I should lay off that. It's dead now, right? Here we go, Raymond.
No, it's never gonna die.
Okay, but let's scam the viewers here with some players of the week and take a look because you got them here. And Sir Autry, I just got to shout him out because he's one of my favorite players. Certainly, I've covered a Hoover there, but I know we're talking about our teams here. You see right there, Paris Dixon looking great in that Braves uniform, but we have Matthew Barton last week, the 6 touchdowns. And Raymond, I know it's easy to give the stats because Matthew and Jeremiah do such a great job, but I think I need to go out of my way and actually, I don't know, Matt, I'm going to start to look up a little bit of record keeping here if they haven't done it already on some of Barton. You got me thinking about those 2 6-touchdown performances now. Benitez for the Eagles, 4 touchdowns, 252 yards. There's Jackson Deal, one I've also mentioned, by the way, because you did. But Jeremiah, Paris Dixon, 5 catches, 160 yards, including that long completion of 42 yards for a touchdown. Also, underneath, right there, interestingly, Jacobo Elias. Talk about the Braves and the Scots. I know I'm throwing a few other players in here, but that would be interesting because they could match up again. Brendan Lewis, the man who was made for baseball, 8 catches, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns for the week, and also Christian Renteria out of nowhere. Raymond, we need to know more on that one with Christian. 9 for 18, 257 yards and 4 touchdowns. He is a senior. He was playing quarterback last week. And I don't know. Derek DuBose is an awesome player who's been everything for El Cajon Valley at quarterback this season. I don't know what's going on, but Renteria was a good option. Take a look at the honorable mentions you had this week, Raymond. Caden Chambers, you mentioned his big performance. Also listed Ben Hernandez, Rylan Jesse, and Paris Vernon. Anything, Raymond, on the players of the week?
And congratulations to all of them. If I missed you, congratulations. Omar, Jamie, congratulations to you. Sorry I didn't get you on there. Yes, the El Cajon Valley kid is a stud. I don't know which kids you're talking about, but there's several of them. They're studs, and they're going to come to play against Mount Miguel. So that should be a good one. Too bad there's another game going on down the street from there. That'll be a good one to check out. But either game, man, go to either game. If you can't get into Grossmont and Helix, if that game's sold out, head over to El Cajon Valley and watch them play Mount Miguel. Because yes, sir, Paris is the truth. Paris has been on my list for a while. I know El Cajon Valley ain't been the team to talk about, but Paris Dixon has always been on my radar, and it's good to see him having breakout games, and it's good to see him having success. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and that's a high compliment there from a man who played quarterback at El Cajon Valley, Tyson Smith. Just about there he is. He says it right there. And I was out there watching Tyson. I don't remember seeing me, Tyson, out there. Anyway, I played about, I want to say 5 years, 5, 6, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, somewhere in there. Quarterback at El Cajon Valley, Tyson Smith. Okay. Raymond, thank you so much for another great week of action. And, well, we can't wait. Wish it was Friday night already, but I'll be watching. I also, hey, listen, shout out anyone. I just want to say this. Shout out to Mr. Xander, Josh's dad. I think I know his name. I don't want to say it wrong, but you watch this, watch the game on NFHS, but Mr. Xander goes out there. I don't know. I imagine NFHS might even have announcers on this one because it's so big, but there are some other big games in the county. So Mr. Xander, though, has a great camera, Raymond. I know you've seen it, and he shoots the game live. There's no announcers. Hey, shout out, Mr. Xander. If you want an announcer, I'll plug me in. I'll announce the game on your broadcast from my right on your YouTube. I've done it before. I don't know if you have the technology, but I've done it before, and I'll call your game. Give me a shout out. Find me on. You know where to find me.
I didn't realize it was Mr. Xander, but he's been doing a great job broadcasting the games.
Isn't his camera beautiful?
For the last couple of years, yeah. And he's been keeping us updated on the road games and the state championships last year. So great job, Mr. Xander. And his son is amazing. One of the best touchdown plays I've ever seen going up against Helix. So hopefully he can do it again this Friday. Shout out.
Big star in that 4 overtime game, remember. And so here's the thing. I've called the game before via remote, and I don't know if Mr. Zan, I did it with Pablo, Raymond, our friend Pablo. And I actually called the game from my house one time in the pandemic when we were just getting back, and they didn't allow everybody in. I called the game from my house because they didn't allow the press spot, whatever was going on back then in the pandemic. And so I don't know if Mr. Xander, he's pretty advanced. He's got a beautiful camera. If he has that technology, I'll plug in with you and call your game. I don't know much about his equipment. He might probably just set up his camera with a
get you on speakerphone and attach it to the camera.
Well, like you said, when he was at Santana, and last week he had another. I don't know if he's big, if you put that. I know they watch, but because you know how it is at Steel Canyon with the visitor sideline only 4 or 5 steps deep. There's not much of a, so he had to shoot from low angle there as well. But he'll be back at home this week with a great camera. And so the reason why I'm mentioning this though is not because I want to call up the game, but hi Tyson. And Tyson could have been, he was good for a Braves team that could have been, We were in Braves land, and they did pretty well. But it's on YouTube, and with a great picture, everybody could see this game on YouTube. Thanks to Mr. Xander, this will be probably his most watched game, anyways. He did it last year too, but this is even, I don't know. It feels like there's no way the game can be any better than last year, despite all the hype. There's just feels impossible. But if you want to watch this game, it'll be on YouTube. He fires up that camera. It's a beautiful high def camera. It won't be like if you're an NFHS subscriber like I do. Eagles camera works real good. One of the best ones. Thank you, Mr. Cobbs and everybody at Granite. But I don't watch it. I watch Mr. Xander's feed every week. It's got, my big, even again when San Diego State was playing, I put Granite on the big one. And thank you to him. And so if everyone's watching, it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be great. And I imagine, Raymond, we'll also have our own coverage, huh?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you next week. For
Thank you
Raymond
for having me.
Brown.
It's an honor and privilege.
Yeah, as always, man. It's going to be a great one. I wish I was home. I want to go to the game. For Raymond Scott, we're Raymond Brown. I'm Ramon Scott. Ramon Brown and Raymond Scott. We are brothers. All right. See you next week.